Nightwing, issue 84, Tom Taylor writing. And as we also see with Catwoman later, we have a fill-in artist for the Fear State tie-in, which is fine, gives the regular artist a break, and it is kind of a separate thing, so it doesn't feel as distracting to jump to a different artist. I need to say this, right? Tom Taylor needs to stop making me tear up reading Nightwing issues. And what got me about this one is that this one kind of just hit me. There was no build up to it. There was no emotional scene.
I know the exact panel you're on about.
It just hit me. It was like a sniper shot. It just hit me like a snipe.
Is it that one panel of Batman in the bottom right of a page?
It is, yes.
Yeah.
Just out of nowhere.
I was the same, where I was like, oh no, this issue, like Tom Taylor's weakest issue of Nightwing yet. It's good. It's solid. It's very much an event tie-in rather than a Nightwing issue. Yeah. And I was like, yeah, this is good. This is good, but it's not going to give me the same feelings that I get from Nightwing. And then I get to that one panel, I'm like, God damn it, Tom Taylor. How?
Because he knows what makes us tick.
He does know what makes us tick. It's really quite. And I kind of agree. I'm not mad that this exists, because sometimes when things tie into an event, it can be frustrating. But DC's been pretty good in not having this happen often. And I think when you're enjoying the event, and it's a core group of characters who all do interact a lot, like the Bat family do, this does make the event feel bigger, and it's nice to kind of have his inclusion in it. So, even if it is not as good as the regular run, it's not.
But I like how self-aware it is with the Dick going. I just announced I'm going to take care of Bloodhaven, but I have to go over to Gotham because that's my home too. And so I do like that it's kind of self-aware in that way. We're going to take a break for a second so I can go help over here.
Yeah, I kind of dig. I mean, Catwoman does this more so. I think Catwoman, while still feeling like a Fear State tie-in, feels more like it's unskippable because there's still some reactions to the last issue of Catwoman that feel very important to the overall story.
Yep.
In that issue. He does reference what's going on, but for the most part, you could just sort of not put this in the trade and it would work.
I would agree as of right now, but this also does say it's Fear State tie-in 1 of 3.
True.
So by the time you get the 3 parts, maybe it'll be more relevant to Dick's character at the end of this, as to his commitment to Bloodhaven, perhaps.
Yeah, absolutely. That could absolutely be true. And and that wasn't a complaint either. I like that it does reference at least what's going on. It doesn't feel like it's so disconnected. It's like, no, this is still the world he's from. It's kind of nice that it's not a different writer. It's nice that Taylor's the one, and the same with Ramvi and Catwoman. It's like, okay, the character has to take a break to be a part of this crisis that's going on in Gotham. So the writers who are writing those characters and their stories also have to take a break from their story to tie into, and it can happen too often and stuff. But when it's done well, it kind of like the real world craft all mirrors what's going on in the world, and that can kind of make it interesting.
Yeah. What I liked about Catwoman though is that Ram V's been seeding that aspect of Fear State through the last couple issues.
Yeah,
with the taking of Alleytown.
Yeah,
so it doesn't feel that much of a digression like this one does.
It's been more directly tied in with Catwoman for sure. Yeah.
So I do like that. However, I do like how it shows how the writers are different in handling it too.
Yeah.
So it doesn't, because I remember when people used to complain about editorial and how everything ends up the same, and I don't feel that right now. And I don't know if it's the editorial shakeup. I don't know if it's just Fear State's almost a looser kind of event or what it is, but I do like seeing how different Tom Taylor and Ram V handle.
I think it's
tying their
Fear
books
State as an event reminds me of something like No Man's Land, in that it's here's the status quo.
Right.
Just play with it in your book, right? As opposed to this is the story we're telling.
Right, and I do like that in here it deals with, because we've had Oracle and Barbara as a character, and I do like that this arc in Fear State deals with the Oracle issue that we've seen.
Yeah, because if anything,
Batman.
I mean, Baz has been in Batman as well, but Baz has also been probably the closest to a second lead that we've had in Nightwing, so it makes sense for that stuff to kind of tie in. Before we get into the story, I mean, obviously it's not the same artist. It's not as, I wouldn't say it's as good as Redondo, but I still enjoyed this art quite a bit.
There's a Dustin Nguyen quality sometimes, like through the motion, that at first I wasn't, because it's not Redondo, right? And but then the more I kept reading, the more I was like, wow, this is the motion in this is what should be in a Nightwing comic.
Yeah, it's pretty solid. Yeah,
it's very different in that Redondo, it's really clean, really strong line work, whereas this is It's scratchy. It's really heavy shading. I think if this wasn't set in Gotham, I would have very different feelings about that transition. Yeah. But because these issues are in Gotham, it feeling dirtier, so to speak.
Feels like
I think shadows. It fits, and that's where
and it keeps the because we've had this a few times in this book. It's done the Daredevil thing from the Wade Samney run, where there's a moment later on where he switches his baton into the window smashing mode. Yep. Right, it does the close-up panels with the click and the flip.
And they've kept that in here,
yeah. So they've kept that consistently there, so it still feels like it's part of the same through line, the same language.
Well, it was like Sorrentino does a lot of those with the coloring, where the background goes red and everything else is like kind of in silhouette. And for a while, I thought that was a Lemire thing until I read a Sorrentino Bendis book, and it did the same thing.
I know. Sorrentino has a thing where even if he's not going to be the regular colorist, he always colors the first issues of any project that he does himself, so that he can set the template. He can go, this is what I want it to look like to whatever colorist he ends up working with after.
And so, sometimes it is the artist that's doing that sometimes. So I feel like here, I don't know if this artist, was like, okay, I can do something fun because that's what's been in the book, or if Taylor writes that into the script.
I suspect it was probably Redondo who came up with it and who wanted to bring it into the book. And then, when we've got guest artists, now it is baked into the house style of this book, so to speak. So even when he's playing in a different style of art, it's still part of the format. So it'll be kind of like, you've got to include these now.
Right.
It'll be in the writing.
And I do like how it's kind of tied to street level heroes. And to me, Dick is the ultimate street level hero at DC. Even more so than Batman, because Batman, of course, has all the different gadgets and stuff. But, with Nightwing, it's usually him and his batons. So I do like when that shows up.
And his butt cheeks, that's not discounting the butt cheeks.
I am, you can talk about Dick's butt, all right? But, well, me and Connor will keep it about his baton, all right?
His one baton.
As I said, his baton. I said what I said.
All right, so basically he recaps what's going on a little bit, and then screech, his earpiece goes off, and the fake oracle that we know is broadcasting in Batman, try to spread fear, is saying Batman's dead, is saying a bunch of stuff, but mainly actually sends a direct message to Nightwing saying to be in Crime Alley at whatever time. So it's like, oh shit.
I actually like at this point as well, we don't know if it's the fake oracle or the real one, because it's communications are potentially compromised, come meet us here at this time. So it could be Babs.
And I think because we're all thinking it as well, we all know that they are compromised, if you're reading Fear State. So I'll be honest though, so I said there's an emotional panel later. This also may have the funniest panel of the week, which is when Dick goes to his neighbor and says, hey, can you look after my dog? You look after Haley for a night. And there's a little joke here where the dog's already gone because there's two kids and they love playing with the dog. And the mum says something to the effect of, I'm sure the dog will fare better than the goldfish. And Dick says, what happened to the goldfish? And the panel of the little boy who looks up, looking like the most evil piece of shit in the world, and just says, what it deserved. Broke me. I was pissing myself.
It's hilarious. That combined with the door slam after, and him just going, what the hell have I just done?
Yeah. Are we talking about the dog's name?
Haley?
I know it was a fan thing.
Yeah.
Definitely named after the circus, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't make that connection until this issue, and it just clicked.
What's what?
I was like, yeah, that's a weird name for the dog. And then I was like, oh yeah, that's the name of the circus that he came from. Oh man.
Oh, I also thought Barkwing or Bitewing or whatever.
Bitewing.
There you go.
I think Taylor still refers to him as Bitewing, as that's the nickname still. It's not the official name, but it's what he calls him on Twitter.
Oh, Dick Grayson has two names.
Why not the dog? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I just,
Haley the Bitewing.
That exchange, what happened to the goldfish?
Yeah.
What it deserved.
Kids are terrible.
What did the goldfish do to you to piss you off this much?
We had a guy come to work last week, and he goes, "Can I get a cup of water, please?" And we were like, "Yeah, sure." And he goes, "Oh, it's it's just for my goldfish." And he just pulls up this bag with a goldfish in.
So Nightwing goes to Gotham, And at this point as well, the magistrate have got these like UFO looking things in the sky that are like shining lights down upon the city and getting all
super drones.
Yeah, dictatorship, all that stuff. And Dick gets to the alleyway, and of course, pretty quickly, he's like, maybe this is a trap. And sure enough, all the androids and stuff from the magistrate show up. Heads start to crack. But luckily, Batman shows up. Although, as he points out, he didn't really need his help, but like he's going to come anyway. So and I like the narration here. Dick talks about how immediately they just go into their old flow. Like it's just like nothing. It's like it's
dynamic
like
duo.
muscle memory. It's just like okay, but it's Batman and Robin again.
They spent years fighting like this. They know what they're doing.
Yeah. So. Really nice stuff. We get the window breaking thing. They have to run away. They can't go up to the rooftops because of all the drones. They can't go and
No, I love that they tell the people, oh, we're gonna pay for that window. And then I was like, wait, do they just keep a memory of what window broke in which apartment?
Probably.
Bruce will probably just like drop off an envelope. With like
I love how it's after they run through like the wall into someone's bedroom.
I know.
And they're just like, sorry about that.
Yeah.
We'll pay for the wall too. So
thin walls in Gotham, hey?
Yeah, apparently.
Well, it is. You got to remember they're in Crime Alley, which is now called Park Row because it's been, gentrified.
As Dick points out, technically it's still referred to as Crime Alley, and he theories that if they called it Lawful Lane, it might not attract as much crime.
Right. But I was just gonna make a
Matt's arguing for gentrification here.
I'm not arguing for. I'm saying it's cheap, so that's why the walls are so thin. They're trying to make a profit as quick as possible. Was the point I was going to make.
Okay.
Okay.
So they end up in the sewers because it's safer to travel down there. And Batman explains that Oracle's at the clock tower. The Oracle that's communicating is fake. And what I like is because one of the plot points in some of the other stories, both in Batman with some characters and in Catwoman, is that some people like hear her and immediately are like, that's not the real Oracle. There's no way this is the real Oracle spreading these things. But Dick doesn't have that, and it's not because he's too dumb or whatever. It's because he doesn't hear the general spread of information. He doesn't hear the Batman is dead and there's no hope. Everyone be scared.
He hasn't seen any of that. He just got one encrypted message.
But he explains that Babs is at the clock tower, so go and help her. And then Dick tries to thank him for helping. He didn't really need to, but.
Yeah, and Bruce is like, yeah, you could have handled it. He's like, yeah, but still appreciated.
And then, out of nowhere, Batman just drops this. I watched my parents die in that alley. I wasn't going to let that happen to my son. And I'm like, damn it, Taylor!
It's so out of nowhere. And like, God damn it. Why? Feelings.
It's too much. It's too much. So, Dick goes to the clock tower, speaks to Babs. Whoever's doing this, they have to go shut down this fake Oracle. And she's like, yeah, I'm not staying here. I'm coming with.
Whips out a brand new Batgirl suit.
Yeah, it's kind of
not that dissimilar to the last one.
It's kind of like a mix of the last one. It's got the colours of the Burnside outfit, but it's...
The ears look weird, and I don't know if that's artistic interpretation.
I think they're just a bit longer than you're expecting, that's all.
Yeah.
They're quite straight, but I mean, yeah, it looks fine.
A bit of mix and match. Hey, you know what? I'm okay with this being a Nightwing and Batgirl book for a few issues.
Me too. Because the lack of... I know we're getting the Batgirl's book, but that's not going to be Barbara's book, right? That's going to be... Like, she'll be there.
She's going to be there, but she's not going to be out in the field as Batgirl that often.
No, so if Nightwing's going to be the co-lead, and it's Nightwing and Oracle, cool. I'm more than okay with that.
I feel like we're not too far away from the same way that like Green Arrow started being treated
Black
as
Canary.
well. It's a Green Arrow and Black Canary book, really, just without the title. And maybe this it's a Nightwing and Oracle, or Nightwing and Batgirl, whatever you want to call it.
Taylor decided to do an arc where Dick can't be Nightwing anymore, for that, whatever that arc is, right? He's too busy with
Rick
the
Grayson.
Pennyworth. Yeah, no, let's not put that out there. He's busy with the Pennyworth Foundation and stuff, and it's just Babs doing stuff. And it's still called Nightwing
as the vigilante for an issue.
Or an arc,
Or
6.
Arc,
yeah, I would be okay with that.
Yeah,
me too.
That's great. I mean, yeah, it's a tie-in to an event, but it's a very strong tie-in to an event with good character work and nice action and pretty much enjoyable art. There's nice silhouette stuff when he's in the alleyway. Batman's entrance looks quite, like obviously it's done all the time, but Batman can have a good entrance in a comic. It's not hard to mess that up.
As cranky as I get about Batman, I do love when he jumps down and does the whole Batman thing. Yeah, because there is a presence to him there.
Yeah, and I even like, there's like a shadow, and Dick actually refers to it as that's the shadow of a bat, and then you see him coming down. It's a nice moment. It's fun stuff. Matt, what are you giving Nightwing?
I'm gonna give this an 8.5.
Connor,
I'm gonna give it an 8. I think it's really good.
I think I'm going to go with the 8 as well. I'll go with a straight 8. Very good time stuff. Making Fear State feel nice and big.